This is the Einhell X-Change 18-volt cordless brushless combi drill and impact driver twin pack, according to the Wix website. But I will call it the Einhell 18-volt brushless kit, just for simplicity's sake. It comes with a brushless hammer drill, and it comes with a brushless impact driver, which is phenomenal for the price of £200. That's $199. Or when I bought it on sale from Tool Station for $149.98, which was a killer deal, and that's why I hopped onto it. It comes with these two, a 4 amp hour battery, a 2 amp hour battery, a fan charger, and a tool bag. Now, I had never heard of Einhell before until I moved to this country, and they are German designed, made likely in China, which is fine. But honestly, these are probably the best drills and impact. Impact's a little bit more questionable, that I have ever owned, strictly because they're brushless. And honestly, the quality of the materials and the design are pretty good. So I have the specs pulled up here. Now, the hammer drill has 60 Newton meters of torque. That is 44-ish foot-pounds, which isn't too bad. That's 44.25. Of course, has different torque settings, decent variety from 1 all the way up to 19. Then it has your screwdriver mode, your drill mode, and then of course your hammer drill mode. Kind of hard to adjust this properly on, well, facing the camera. It's kind of tight. So if you don't know what a hammer drill does, it's kind of hard to demonstrate on this model because it's just actually crazy powerful. When you have it on the hammer drill setting, it goes back and forth and hammers. This is for drilling into masonry. And also it has regular drill functions. It's kind of hard to twist, actually. It has normal drill functions if you want as well. It also has 2 speed settings, 1 and 2. Honestly, I can't feel too much of a difference between the two. It has a undercarriage light, which honestly, I don't really like undercarriage lights. I'd rather them be here. But here we have a hole for the hammer drill handle, which screws in on either side. It's ambidextrous. We have an optional belt clip down here, which I've left in, and honestly, this belt clip is pretty heavy duty. Probably one of the best I've seen. Of course, it is brushless, which means it has no brushes. And if you don't know what a brush is, it is a little metal piece that essentially grinds up against the engine. That's the best way I can describe it. The way this operates is the speed is regulated through a chip, which regulates the speed, which theoretically will mean that this can last longer than a brushed model, because over time that brushed model gets ground down, whereas since this is controlled by a chip, that doesn't happen. It also means that there can be a greater torque output, which is really cool, and which is why brushless models are significantly more expensive than brushed models, which is why, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that this kit is only £200. I think that's really good for a brushless kit. Definitely a good entry level, and considering the quality, um, definitely definitely close to professional or prosumer level quality here. It's legitimately good. The only downside to this drill is that it is too powerful. The low setting doesn't seem to lower the speed at all, so it's like all or nothing. And it doesn't have, like, it does have some finger control. It has a decent amount actually. So the best way to control the torque that you're doing is unfortunately with your finger. And while we're at it, we will cover the battery. So the first battery is a 2 amp hour battery, which is standard 18 volts. Now, American viewers, it's a 20 volt. Okay? American viewers, it is a 20 volt. British viewers, it is 18 volt. Now, if you don't get what I mean, is that in the UK, every tool brand labels their tools like Milwaukee. They label it based off of what it actually runs at, which is 18 volts, as opposed to what it is when there's no load, which is 20 volts. So it is a 20 volt battery, but when it has any load on it, it is an 18 volt battery. So that might clear things up for people, hopefully. So an 18 volt battery at 2 amp hours. 2 amp hours is pretty standard in the industry. Might be able to get a maybe about a half hour out of it. Like 15 minutes to half an hour, depending. Constantly running. Has a compressible battery level at the front, which honestly is a little bit hard to press. It has a rubberized bottom and sides to help prevent any damage when being dropped. The very bottom, this is plastic. No breathing holes of any kind, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I would kind of like it, because generally it means you can charge it a little bit faster, but charging things faster generally means the cells will die quicker. Don't know what type of cells they are. I've not opened it yet. But after that, we will go to the Impact, which has 180 Newton meters of torque, which is 132 foot-pounds of torque, or usually on impacts they go inch pounds to make it sound better. So that is 1,593.13 inch pounds of torque, which is pretty decent. Standard for impacts are about 1,300 inch pounds, so that's above spec. And the drill is at 531 inch pounds, which is actually pretty good. Standard inch pounds on a drill is probably around. It used to be around 300. Used to be decent. So 500 for the drill is pretty good. But the Impact, we have the lights around the chuck here. The chuck is a quick release. We will bring out our Parkside bits for it. So we can't lock it in without pulling it up. We have to pull it up, lock it in, and then it stays in until we pull it out, and then we have to pull at the same time to pull it out. Again, has a optional belt clip with it. Of course, it comes with it, but you know, it's optional if you want to have it on there or not. And is quite compact here, only being what, that's 6 inches or 15 centimeters, which is pretty good. And it's pretty light, and like I said, 1,500 inch-pounds is nothing to knock at. That's pretty powerful. We will test it with the 4 amp hour battery here, and puts out a pretty decent amount of torque. And again, brushless, which is great. The now it's going to be a little bit different because it'll be able to get more power out of the 4 amp hour, but let's see the trigger control. Okay, still some trigger control. So what an impact is it essentially it has a hammer in there, and that helps drive it in with a lot more torque than a regular drill. Very good for large screws, deck bolts, lag bolts, just big, heavy duty things that need to get in there. A lot of things that you're not going to be really pre-drilling for, but probably should pre-drill for. Again, I didn't really show it on the other one, but has a reverse switch just like every other drill and impact that pretty much exists. The 4 amp hour battery also has a rubberized bottom, just like the 2 amp hour. Also has a press button battery indicator, and will probably provide you with at least 45 minutes of juice nonstop. 45 minutes to an hour, which is pretty good. And 4 amp hours will also usually get you a little bit more performance out of your tool, because it usually gives it a little bit more juice than a 2 amp hour. So use 4 amp hours for grinders or like impacts. Like, you don't have to use it for an impact, but definitely use it for a grinder, more heavy duty stuff, and keep the 2 amp hours for just for drilling and things like that. You want to do a 4 amp hour if you're grinding and doing heavier duty, more power intensive stuff. And then we also have the charger, which would face you like that. This is a pretty quick charger. It's got a charging times. So for a 2 amp hour battery, the charging time is 40 minutes. And for a 4 amp hour battery, it is 75, which is pretty good. It also has a fan inside, which usually is a hallmark of a good charger. And has mounts on the bottom, so you can mount it on the wall if you wish. And has a slot to redirect the cord for whatever way you wish to mount it onto your wall. And then I threw the bag over there, but the bag's pretty good, and it's a bag. It holds holds things. But overall, honestly, I think these might be the best value of drill and impact that you can find in the UK. I've not done a whole lot of searching, but DeWalt is incredibly expensive here. So I don't know if that price includes VAT on Wix, but I'm gonna hope that it does. Sometimes they don't on tool sites for some reason. These these are definitely nearing the pro grade, if not pro quality here. But yeah, these I'm honestly I've used them a few times, and I'm looking forward to how well they do on a review.